Welcome to PowerPoint Create a Quiz. I'm Trainer Lori. Why create a quiz? In PowerPoint especially, well, it reinforces knowledge through audience participation. It wakes them up, makes them think. First, we're going to look at match game. The audience guesses the answer, and you can quickly show if it's right and why. I use this when I teach Access. And so instead of going over all the information just as a list, I ask, okay, what is the last name linked to? Two ways you can handle it. You can either draw it by hand, which I think is fun because it's not very good, and sometimes I goof it up and get it wrong, and so they're more interested to see, is she going to get it wrong this time? Or you can have a line drawn in advance and just have it automatically go there. And so in a more formal presentation, that would probably be appropriate. You'll find under Control P. It instantly creates a pen while you're in presentation mode. If you're not familiar with all the shortcuts, hit F1 while you're in slideshow view for on-screen help. And you can see all kinds of shortcuts there, like the B or the W to go to a black slide or a white slide. But under the ink, you can see Control P makes an ink annotation, Control A takes it back to the arrow again, and Control E will erase it. The next one is self-directed quiz with either multiple choice or true-false. This is what they might do on their own if you send them the PowerPoint presentation as a training aid, depending on what it is that you want to create. And so I'm using hyperlinks here, and there's several different kinds. The first is just the entire text, so you'd have multiple choice. In this case, if it was true-false, of course, you'd only have two, true or false. But this is simply text with a hyperlink. This is a text box that I made to look like a button as a hyperlink. A word art using an odd-looking letter, or more fancy. And this one is simply a graphic. It's a picture that I have, and then I turn that into a link. The easiest way to create a hyperlink is simply right-click on it. The hyperlink can go to an incorrect slide if they choose the wrong one, and you can put the correct information on there so they'll know. And there's also, notice in the bottom corner, there is a continue button, and that will be a hyperlink that will go back to that slide or to the next question. And if it goes to the correct, it's a good idea to put an exclamation point in, make them feel good about the answer. Again, you can reinforce the correct answer and then see another button at the bottom to hyperlink them. This time, though, it hyperlinks to an email address, and then it would send an email saying that they're completed. And notice when you right-click on whatever you want to create a hyperlink for, one of your options is email address. And you can put in your own email address and even the subject line. So it makes it really easy for them to send the email. The next one is a loop game. I like to use this to keep an audience engaged before or in between speakers. In other words, to give them something to look at besides just a blank screen. So in this case, it's a question with multiple options. And they come up one at a time, so it gives them time to think. I'm running it a little faster than it would normally run. And then they start disappearing one at a time, so you can, just like a game, a quiz show game that you might play anywhere. It's all done using the animation pane. So you just create a list of possible options, and then under animation, choose the animation pane. I love actually keeping that on. And then you can see that they are, in this case, they fade in and then they fade out, except for the correct answer, and it doesn't fade out. This quiz game is where you can click to go to the question that the audience selects. I like to have the audience actually choose which one. So I pick somebody in the audience and say, okay, which topic are we going to be under? Database? Okay, database for 100. And pretty soon they start getting into it and they start calling me Alex. But then when you click it, it will go to a question just for that level. So you have to make them easy, medium, and then harder. It starts off with this in the original deck, the deck that I'm doing my presentation in, and then the graphic becomes a hyperlink to another deck. Now that other deck or presentation is in slideshow mode, so that it automatically opens up in a slideshow. And then the slide would look something like this. I always have a nice, obvious headline on it, and I make sure that it includes the number, and I'll show you why. It's very important that you put the number in the title, otherwise you can get really confused when you're creating the hyperlinks. Then there's no animation on the question, it's already there. And then there's an answer, and then sometimes I give more information to show them what it is. And then down at the bottom is a little home button that, and it's built on a mouse over hyperlink, so it will go back to the last slide viewed. So what does that mean? Well, first I create, in this case, it's an action button. So under Insert Shapes, you can use an action button that automatically will go home. Or you can right-click on the button and choose Hyperlink. And then notice on the second tab, it says mouse over. That means just by hovering over it, something happens. So you have to be careful not to put your mouse down there. But what I don't want to have to do is try to click on it in the right spot. I need to move it down in that area somewhere, and it usually takes me right back to the last slide. When I'm making this extra deck, I would right-click on the first slide that I created, and then just hit Duplicate Slide. And then just change the text, the question itself. All the rest of it, the formatting is exactly the same. The animation, everything's the same. So now I have one for each, 100, 200, 300, in each of the different categories. Now I want to create the table where you can see the screen and choose from it. So in this case, it's a table that's 3 columns by 4 rows. And then each of the numbers in there becomes a hyperlink to the question slide. So we go to Insert Table, and there's my 3 by 4. And then put the data in it. Then you can either right-click on it, the selected text, or go to Insert Links, Hyperlink, and now this time we say Link to Place in this document. And you see all the slides have the numbers on it, so it's very easy to make the link. I promise you, if you do not put those numbers on there, it'll be very confusing, especially if you use more than 3 columns with 3 slides in it. Then once you've selected it, it looks like a hyperlink. If you want to change what the hyperlinks look like, then you can go to Design, Fonts, and you can choose what your hyperlink will actually look like. And the nice thing is once you've selected one, the hyperlink changes color as the question's used, so that you know which one's already been selected. So the next person, or whoever gets that one right, I let them select the next one, wherever we're going to next. And then at the very bottom is a hyperlink back to the original deck when finished. Now we're done with this deck, this slideshow, and it goes right back to my original presentation. So how do you save it as a slideshow? You just go to Save As, and then Save As Type, choose PowerPoint Show. That's all for this time. I hope you have fun making your quizzes. See you next time, and if you like it, please click like. Thanks.